Hello, everyone. This is from Milwaukee to Nashville. I'm Daniel Goodman, and over there is John Lewandowski. Our show is brought to you by Hockey Locker, 2002 West Howard Avenue, Milwaukee, Wisconsin. You can call them at 414-800-7589. 7589.
7585.
Uh, yeah, 7585. Oops. I was like 85 or 89. Can't remember.
Mhm.
Been a while since we've done a show. For those of you, you can laugh. It's all right. We all make mistakes. Um, Before we get into this, the Admirals this weekend take on Cleveland. Our coverage of those will be done on Sunday evening. Due to John is having holidays with his family, which family first. This is a basically family run podcast, so it's family first. At the same time, I'm running a house party kind of thing in my home. So at the same time, it's there's a mess. I had prior engagements to the hockey season. Um, the Preds also take on Winnipeg that day. And then so we will be back to our normally scheduled programming Monday and Wednesday. And then the 29th, we will be doing a show in the evening as the Admirals play Grand Rapids at 6. So that makes it a little bit more easy with the Preds playing at 2. On the game for Sunday, the 24th. They play at 11 by the time that game is over. The Packers game here will be starting in, well, as many of you may know, football is the way of life about this time of year in Wisconsin. So, with that all being said, that is our scheduling update. But let's get into the past couple games for the Preds here. Um, we might even be able to get in the system in today. I do not know. But let's get into it. All right, the Preds took on Vancouver. Um, we're gonna do the stat line for that one, and then we'll talk about the scoring. We're not gonna do every goal, all the assists and stuff like that. We'll talk about what they did differently.
All right. All right. Well, shots on goal in the first period. Vancouver outshot Nashville 9-5. In the second period, Nashville outshot Vancouver 15-12. In the third period, Vancouver outshoots Nashville 6-2. And in total, Vancouver outshoots Nashville 27-22. On the face-off, Vancouver was better at 52.9% to Nashville's 47.1%. On the power play, Nashville goes 100% at 2 for 2, while Vancouver only goes 1 for 2 or 50%. Both teams had 4 penalty minutes. Vancouver out-hit Nashville 26-25. Nashville outblocked Vancouver 19-14. Vancouver had 14 giveaways to Nashville's 10, and Vancouver had 6 takeaways to Nashville's 4.
All right. So Nashville had very little give. Well, they had 10 giveaways. They actually did give the puck away a whole lot. They actually got a couple takeaway, a few takeaways.
Yep.
Our play goals, they're getting getting the power play going. LaRue getting his first goal. I believe Stammer had a monument as well. I think he passed Yager in some statistical forum, probably power play goals.
Yeah.
Um, Nyquist with an empty net. Sherwood had a goal for Fred. Yossi with a 700 point. Um, and all in all, it looked like they actually had it going for them.
Yeah.
Um, Saros played 24 saves and 27 shots, 2 even straight, 1 power play, 88-9. All right. So yeah, Saros did okay that game. It's been rough sledding. Evangelista McCarron and sorry, LaRue, McCarron, and Parsonen were a -1 in that game. Forsberg +2, O'Reilly +2, Shea +2, Yoshi +1, Carrier -1. Um, this all being said, um, honestly, who played that game? Lankinen. Okay. Lankinen had 81 save percentage. They looked better, but it looked like they were playing a team who, it was one of those. If you lost that game, you lost 6 in a row, and no team wants to lose 6 in a row.
Right.
Because they hadn't won. Actually, yeah, they'd have lost. They hadn't won since they played Colorado, so that'd be 3 in a row. Before that, they had beat Colorado and they had lost, or they hadn't won since they beat Colorado, since they beat Utah at home. And I think they lost against Colorado when they were in Colorado. So it just hasn't been a good year for the Preds. Statistically, the Preds is something I want to get into a little bit later, but um let's get into this Seattle game from last night. The Seattle game from last night, and John, I got you, so you don't gotta
Okay.
worry about it.
All right.
All right, so Seattle, they played Seattle last night. In the first period, Seattle outshot them 11-6. In the second period, Seattle outshot them 17-2. And in the third period, the Preds outshot Seattle 10-9 with a total of 37-24 on the shots. The Preds were better in the faceoff circle at 55 to 45%. Both teams went over 0% on the power play. Preds 0 for 3, Seattle 0 for 4. The one saving grace for the Preds this year is their power penalty kill has been one of the best in the league. But that
Yeah.
don't do much when you can't score on your score 5-on-5 or on the power play. Which I'll get into more after reading all this. Penalty minutes were 8-6. The Preds had more. The Preds actually took a really boneheaded penalty in the bench minor penalty at 43 seconds in for starting the wrong players. This is only the second time in my entire time I've seen that happen. That was the other time was due to somebody being injured, which they did not call the penalty for. In the hits category, the Preds had 21-13 block shots. Seattle had 28-13. Giveaways, the Preds had 19-15. And takeaways, Seattle had 9 to the Predators 1.
Yeah.
In net, Saros stopped 34 of 36, giving up 2 on even strength. The Preds get goals, or Seattle gets goals from Daniel Sprong, Brendan Montour, and Yanni Gord. Joey Decord gets the shutout, and the Preds lose 3-0. Now, statistically analyzing, in 20 games, the Preds have been shut out 4 times, scored 2 or fewer goals 12 times, and have only 6 wins. So you've been shut out 4 times, which is league high right now. They've been shut out the most. The Preds and Saros this season so far in 16 games out of the 20 games he has played 16 is 5-9-2 with a 2.5 goals against average and a 91.6 save percentage. He has 2 shutouts already this season. He has 1 assist, no penalty minutes. It's looking like he's going to be playing about 67 to 70 games this season.
Yeah.
Because I haven't seen Wedgwood since probably the beginning of the month. In his last 5 games, he's allowed, has not, or he has not allowed. Oh, wait a minute. He has not had a shutout since Utah. Yes, Colorado beats Nashville in OT that game. So in retrospect, Saros has probably been the only saving grace because I think a lot of these games would be a lot worse than they are. If you actually look at the statistics, he's actually doing quite well. It's everything else that's not working. So, what's not working? That's what we got to figure out, right? Well, they got to figure it out too, but what's not working?
We're closing in on almost a month and a half into the season, and things haven't been able to be turned around.
That's kind of where I'm at as well. It's we know Winnipeg's going to be a hard one to play.
Mm-hmm.
They've been doing really well this year. New
New
Jersey,
Jersey's a young team who seems to be doing pretty good.
Philly's got a young squad over there with a lot of firepower. Don't sleep on them. Tampa Bay, well, they're Tampa Bay.
Yeah, they're always contenders.
And you got Minnesota, who either they're really good or they're really bad.
Right.
It's kind of like their football team. You know, my question becomes at what point, you lost Fabro. Why didn't you trade him last year when you had 2 offers to trade him?
Right.
You got nothing out of that. He's done well over there in Columbus since getting traded. Apparently Yarrow is making his Sharks debut tonight. I mean, look at all the stuff that they have lost. They've given away to build up this team, and they've done nothing with it. And this really is going to fall on Trotz's hands.
Yeah.
I'm not saying this is all Trotz's fault, but you're sticking with this coach and you're not getting anywhere. You're not seeing the jump from the players. And if you think that it's the players' fault, you're mistaken because it looks like they're going out every night and they're just getting madder and madder because it's not working. And they
Right.
keep doing the same thing over and over and over again. What's the definition of insanity?
Mhm. Doing the same thing without change.
And you keep failing and you wonder why.
Right. And like I said at the beginning of this month, well, at the end of last month, they should have picked up 6 games easy. Easy chance to win 6 out of the games this month, and they're nowhere near that.
This month alone, let's take a look
At
here.
least I'm pretty sure they're nowhere near that. I think maybe 2 or 3 they've picked up.
let's take a look here.
So far this season has made me feel like I feel with the Jacksonville Jaguars. They win the games they shouldn't and lose the games they should win.
One, two, three. They've won three.
Yeah. And that's not saying they couldn't win another three in their next 5 games, but in the next 5 games, I see maybe only one being a for sure shoe in, you should win.
And that's Philadelphia.
Yeah,
That's Philadelphia, but don't sleep on Philadelphia.
right.
So it's one of those situations where you know, looking at the preview, Konechny has 7 points. He leads. Youch! In the last 5 games, the top point getter for the Preds is Robiossi with 4 points.
Oof.
In their regular season, the Flyers are 8-10-2 with a 3.50 goals against average with an 87.9 save percentage, one shutout. Samuel Ersson and Ivan Fedotenkov are their net minders for Nashville. It is UC Saros and Scott Wedgwood. Konechny has 23 points on the season. Tippett has 10. Mechkov has Mete Mechkov in his debut season has 15 points. Braden Brink has 9. Frost has 6. Their defenseman Sandheim has 12. Zamula has 6. Sealer has 6. And you got Ryan Ellis there who's injured.
Right. And then again, I'm pointing out, this is their worst start in over 20 years. I'm trying to find what their worst full season record was, but I'm having difficulty doing that. I mean, there's a lot of season left, but I'm interested in what was their worst season record. Let's see. Let's see.
All right. Their worst season.
I'm thinking it's the 2012-2013, but I'm not sure.
But that was a shortened year due to
Right. Let's see.
their worst full season was
Here,
in
what-
2008, 2000. No, you still don't
I'm look
find
I'm
her.
looking by points. Let's see. 64 points. What season was that? 2020-21 with 31, 23, and 2. But that I believe was a shortened season as well. Yeah, it was 56 games played.
Their worst season is 1998-99 with 63 points with 28 wins, 47 losses, 7. What is that? They had 7 ties.
Yeah, you're right. It would be the 98-99. Yep, 63 points, 28, 47, and 7. Goals for was 190. Goals against was 261.
There, now I can read it.
And believe it or not that this is a good thing, but on Google, people also ask, why are the Nashville Predators losing? Is one of the key searches. That's not something you want to see pop up on Google, is one of the key searches. And they finished 24th in the league that year.
Wow. So somebody said this is a continuation of of last season. Nashville's inability to protect the lead, and after two periods, three times in the playoff series, they were unable to do that this year. That's been a problem. Powerless power play that went 2 for 22. Yet again, another problem.
Yep.
Solve the backup problem in net. Yet another problem. No offense from Novak. Yet another problem. Yossi limited offensively. Oh, look, another problem.
Now, this is just my opinion, but in the last 5 seasons for Nashville, it's almost like since they had the cap to burn, they were trying to build a super team, and that rarely ever works. It looks good on paper, but then when the play starts, it rarely ever works. And then it's like you mentioned earlier in the podcast, look at all the players we've given up or traded away to make this possible, and it's just not paying.
Yeah, I mean, and at this point, I'm not in the, looking to want to give up any more to make it possible.
Right, and at this point, you're almost so screwed you can't even fix it this season.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, why don't you just like you want that top five pick, Tank?
You know?
Because the bottom three teams in the league are guaranteed a top five pick.
Right.
The new lottery rule. So what's the point? Like you've given away our entire future for this team that now is nothing.
Right.
There is no future. And if you think you're gonna get a top center, you better hope to God you got the number one pick, because from the looks of everything else, you're gonna be waiting 4 or 5 years otherwise.
You know?
And this draft don't look that dang promising.
Yeah. I mean, if you just consider some of the names that have come out of Milwaukee or even gone through Nashville that have left, like Tolvanen and Gaudreau and
Diallo.
Fiala, Ingram, unfortunately,
I wish best
Yano this
Winston next
last.
saw that he's on IR.
Okay.
But like even if you look at Ingram, look at what was that? Tabaka, you had a bona fide NHL goaltender there that you drafted that you did nothing with. You
Right.
drafted him and didn't sign him.
Right. They seem to be able to draft good goalies, but then I don't know what happens between the development, where they are in the minors, and making it up to the NHL, but it seems to have completely fallen apart, in my opinion, after Sorrows. I'm not saying anything bad about Saros or whatever. What I am saying is that, when Pekka was the starting goaltender and they were looking for that next person in line, which ended up being Saros, they did a really good job on the decision to go with Saros. And I'm just not seeing those good decisions goaltender wise since that happened.
And I don't see Saros being the guy to lead it. Now I know that Nashville has faith in him, and he's not playing horrible. It's everyone, the system. It's almost like the coaching is bad,
Yeah, it's almost like a complete collapse all around.
and a complete collapse that doesn't come from players.
No.
That comes from the system.
Right, I agree with you. They're going out doing everything they can every game, and they're just getting more and more pissed off. You can see it on the bench when they show it. You can see it on their faces when they lose games, when they're going back to the locker room. You can see them just pissed as hell.
And I'm a Preds fan. I love the Preds, but it's hard to watch.
Right,
In Atlanta, don't take any offense to this, but it's about as hard as watching your games.
right. And Atlanta hasn't been so hot last
Over
year.
the last last year was just brutal.
Right. That was
And
like,
Atlanta fans will agree with me.
right. It was pretty
It's not a
brutal.
dig at our system, because we were hyping this up all off season through graphics and through the little shows we did do of how much good was coming, and prepare for the Preds to be dominant, and they're being dominated.
Right.
There's no grit on this team whatsoever, but yet you're trying to play grit hockey.
Right.
Like, if you're not playing to the guy's strengths, then why are you their coach?
And I mean, in all honesty, too, another system thing I've noticed, yes, goon style hockey or major enforcer hockey is kind of a 90s thing if you look back now, but like Milwaukee had players in place to step up and do that and give that extra oomph, and they were gone too. One was Olivier, and then I'd say the two right now that Nashville has going for them is probably honestly McCarron and LaRue.
And LaRue being the top one there.
Right,
Um, as far as looking forward for the Admirals, Svechkov's been doing well. I think Preds fans, you can look at Svechkov and see that he's gonna be something for you guys. Barring that, you know, he don't get fucking traded, but he came in and played well after losing his friends who both got traded to the Sharks.
right.
Um,
We got a minute and a half.
okay. You've got Yarrow who got traded. That
Yep,
was a mistake. You didn't need to sign Wedgwood. You could have just had him there, and at any point in time, you could have turned into basically the Panthers, where they had the two great goaltenders. You had the young goalie who was making 4 or 5 million, and you had the veteran who was Bob Roski, who was making 10.
right.
So you could have had that. That's how they won the cup.
Yep,
But they also put scorers in positions to score. And I don't see that with Nashville.
right,
There's no sense of urgency to the puck. It's
right.
an urgency to the body. And
37.
I just don't see it.
Yeah.
They've got to step it up, or some things are gonna happen, and they're not gonna be fun for anybody. Just
But
making sure.
anyways, this has been our show for today. Have a